Hi, I'm Pam, and I want to talk with you about the importance of having a healthcare proxy by sharing my experience in being a healthcare proxy. I had the honor of being the healthcare proxy for my grandmother's best friend from college. How do you describe Isabel? She was a force of nature. She was one of the first women to have a seat on the New York Stock Exchange. She was a railroad finance expert and testified in front of Congress. She traveled the world, often with my grandmother, and she was the godmother for my father. I became close with her in her 90s until she passed at age 103. Isabel was able to stay at home and had some wonderful aides that cared for her and helped her day to day. And I became close with her during holidays, and as her congestive heart failure progressed and her functioning kind of declined, I became more involved in her care. Two things that I really learned from this experience. The first was this idea of control. Isabel was a fiercely independent woman who wanted to be in control of every aspect of her life. And, she would talk for hours about art and history and the news, but didn't really talk a lot about herself or her wishes or personal things or illness. Those were all sort of off the table topics of discussion. So because she wanted to remain in control, she did not name a healthcare proxy until about her last 6 months of life. And I actually found out that she named me from her attorney. So I think many people have this idea of that naming a healthcare proxy means that you're giving up some control, when actually it's the opposite. Naming someone you trust and having conversations with them about your wishes, letting them know what you would want or don't want, can actually give you greater control and make it more likely that you get the treatment that you want, and sometimes more importantly, that you don't get the treatment that you wouldn't want. And one of the hardest things for me was to see Isabel going in and out of the hospital and getting treatments and interventions that most likely prolonged suffering. The second thing that I experienced as a healthcare proxy, not having those clear conversations, was a lot of doubt and uncertainty. As I said, she had wonderful caregivers, but as she declined and there was more confusion, more cognitive decline, it became harder to know what she really wanted, and her different caregivers were on different pages with each other and with me even after I was named healthcare proxy. So I made decisions based on who I knew her to be, based on her independence and her vibrant spirit. But at the end of the day, I still had doubts of whether or not I did the right thing, of whether or not I made the right choices, and whether or not that she would be happy and know that she was loved by the decisions that I made. I hope so. So that's why those conversations, not just naming the person, which is of course important, but talking with them, sharing wishes with them is crucial. And now I know that I'm the healthcare proxy appointed for my father. And like his godmother, he doesn't really like to have these conversations either. But I've been able to, from time to time, say, hey, Dad, I heard about this situation on the news, or, this kind of situation came up at work, and I'm just wondering, what would you want in this situation? And a couple of times his answers surprised me. So I encourage you to please, if you haven't already, name a healthcare proxy, talk with them. And Vital Decisions has an amazing Plant It Forward campaign that if you go to mylivingvoice.com and choose your healthcare proxy, a tree will be planted in honor of that person. So please, plant it forward, name a proxy, go to mylivingvoice.com. Thank you very much for your time.